Hello, I'm Joseph Dillard. Welcome to this, our fourth video in our series on the drama triangle. Everybody is scripted to be a rescuer. If you help others, are a good boy or girl, if you do things like make good grades that reflect well on your parents, you're rewarded. You validate others in society and rescue them from the possibility that they may have serious flaws, weaknesses, or limitations, which bad behavior on your part might reflect poorly on them. Everybody loves rescuers. Workaholics of all sorts are praised, earn status, and accumulate wealth. This is because they rescue others by increasing profits, increasing their status, and power. At the same time, the only reason why anyone cares if a rescuer burns themselves out by always rescuing others is that they lose someone who is doing more than their share of the work and therefore rescuing others. It's terrible when rescuers burn out because others might have to start picking up the slack and taking responsibility for doing their own workload, their own duties, and their own responsibilities. Just like we can be victimized without being in the role of victim, and we can be angry without being in the role of persecutor, so we can help others without being in the role of rescuer. For example, firemen have a right and duty to destroy your possessions with water or axes in the process of putting out a fire. Emergency medics are helpers even when they are stripping off your clothes and administering shock treatments to your body. There are three fundamental ways that rescuers differ from helpers, and they're very important. So listen to these, and I hope you remember them. First, helpers wait for requests for assistance. Rescuers see what they think is a problem and jump in without waiting for a request in order to validate their self-worth as a caring individual. Secondly, where helpers check to see if their assistance is actually helping, rescuers base the effectiveness of their assistance on their noble intent, not on real-world results. 3, helpers stop when the job is done. Rescuers keep on keeping on, like a hamster in a wheel, to validate their own self-worth until they burn out. And so burnout is a really good indication that one is in rescuer mode. Burnout can indicate that you are even a professional rescuer. Here are some common signs of burnout: lack of motivation, feeling exhausted, frustrations and negative emotions, slipping performance at work, decreased satisfaction, experiencing health problems with no clear causes, preoccupation with work problems when not at work, being careless with yourself, personal problems at home and at work, and lacking the ability to concentrate. Rescuers generally end up feeling unappreciated and therefore climbing down into the role of victim. No matter how hard I try, no one appreciates me. Look at how much I do for everyone, and they just ignore me. Rescuers generally end up seeing those they are helping as unappreciative. After all I've done for you, this is the thanks I get. People in the helping professions, such as doctors, psychologists, nurses, therapists, and teachers, tend to be rescuers. They often go into the profession to rescue themselves and then end up spending their life rescuing others. Professional persecutors, such as police, lawyers, the military, FBI, and CIA, typically view themselves as helpers, but are actually rescuing. They think of themselves as the good guys that keep the world safe. It is difficult to decide which of the three life positions in the drama triangle, victim, persecutor, or rescuer, is the sickest and most deluded. I suppose it's fair to say the one that you're in, or the one that you're presently being victimized by, is the worst. However, if I had to choose, it would be the position of the rescuer, because it wins the award for being the most dishonest and manipulative. Rescuing is persecuting under the guise of helping. Rescuers also tend to be exceptionalists, like persecutors, only instead of holding the keys to truth, they hold the keys to goodness and health. When one has been scripted and rewarded to be a rescuer, it can be quite threatening to look back at one's life and to realize that the majority of misfortunes and broken relationships that they have been caused by themselves. Our rationalizations and excuses are examples of mental self-rescuing, and our addictions amount to mental and behavioral self-rescuing. We rescue ourselves in our dreams when we wake ourselves up, intervene to maintain control, or provide our own interpretations without consideration of other embedded perspectives, which are as much a part of the dream as we are. Self-rescuing in dreams is simple avoidance. Instead of practicing integral deep listening, we are practicing superficial self-rescuing. All right, so what are some of the strategies for escaping the role of rescuer? If you love to anticipate the needs of others and jump in to their lives and problems to help them or satisfy them, ask yourself where that desire came from. It's likely that you got considerable praise for doing so as a child. Is such praise still required to validate who you are? If so, then who are you if you don't get it? Did you get a request to help? Or did you just assume? If you didn't get a request, you're probably in the role of rescuer. An exception would be a parent with a small child, okay, or teachers, all right, who actually have an identified role as a helper in relationship to the student or minor. A second strategy, identify when your intention to do good overwhelms the wisdom of waiting for requests and getting feedback on the assistance you are giving. Do you ever stop to ask questions? Hey, is this really helping you or not? Ask yourself, what are the consequences for me if I base my sense of self-worth on the praise I get from others? Then, if they stop praising me, who am I? Where's my self-worth? Next, identify toxic words, cognitive distortions and biases that put you in the role of rescuer, and eliminate them from your thinking and speaking. One possible toxic word that may indicate rescuing is need, as in, they need my help, or I need to help them. To be a needy person is to be helpless and dependent. Is my need to help others depriving others of some responsibility and growth from being a partner in helping themselves? For instance, as a therapist, I often give clients homework. Why? Well, it's so that we can see if they really want to take responsibility for making changes in their life, or they just want to be spoon-fed with me in the role of rescuer. No. That does not respect other people if we don't empower them by having them share the responsibility for their own development. Next approach is to start using integral deep listening interviewing to identify when you're in the role of rescuer in your life issues and dreams, and then follow the recommendations of interviewed emerging potentials to move yourself out of drama. People rescue themselves in integral deep listening interviewing when they interject their interpretations, refuse to get out of the way, and don't allow the interviewed perspective to speak its own mind. Also, they're rescuing themselves when they don't act on the recommendations that come out of the interview. It's often more comfortable to stay stuck where we are than exit the drama triangle. Next, consider stopping viewing others or life as needing you to make everything all better. No, people will pretty much be the way they are without you. The world will not stop turning if you stop intervening. Next, recognize that when you play the role of rescuer, you are victimizing yourself by taking on other people's responsibilities. Eventually, you burn out and become a victim. Recognize that when you play the role of rescuer, you will sooner or later feel persecuted by those you are trying to help. For example, think of the relationship between typical parents and typical adolescents. Who's feeling persecuted and who's acting like a rescuer? Move away from being a purveyor of goodness to practicing the authentic goodness of the Socratic triad that comes from deep listening to the concerns of both subjective, interviewed others, and also your friends, authorities, and objective others. Also, ask yourself and ask your family and friends to ask you, if I were in the drama triangle right now, which role would I most likely be in? Learn to recognize and turn down invitations to play the rescuer in relationships, your thoughts, and in your dreams. So as you can see, there are very many ways that you can help yourself to recognize how you get stuck in the role of a rescuer and to get out. And remember that your addictions are forms of self-rescuing. They waste your time. They divert your focus from your goals. They keep you locked in the drama triangle. So identify your addictions and attempt to slowly, one by one, let them go. In our next video in the series, we will address how to deal with fallout from exiting the drama triangle. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.